Well, let's send it out for a moment as we continue on with our pregame show. CC Hawkley and Jesse Cohen, they caught up with one another and were able to discuss tonight's match. Rain and Eagles coming at you pretty soon, but now let's send it over to Jesse.
Joining me now from Full Press Hockey, he covers the Colorado Eagles, CC Hawkley. How are you doing today, CC?
Howdy. How are you guys doing tonight? How are you, Jesse?
I'm doing great. Listen, I have to admit, when I first saw your name, I thought it might have been a bit like Hawkley, hockey. It's awfully close.
It is, but nope, that's my birth name. Nothing's been changed, and CC are my first and middle initials, so it's all natural, as it were.
There you go. Well, I was fortunate enough to find you. You cover the Colorado Eagles. You cover them in a couple of different places. So if anybody out there is curious to follow your coverage of the Eagles, where can they find you before we jump into this?
Well, my writing, features and game recaps are on fullpresshockey.com. And I've got a couple different podcasts that, I co-host. First one is Front Range Hockey. I co-host that with Scott McDonald, Pro Hockey Writers Association member, just became accredited with them. And you can find that at Full Press Hockey in the podcast drop-down tab or on Twitter at Front RNG Hockey. The second podcast I do covers all of the AHL, and me and my co-host Sean O'Brien do that. It's called the Calder Farmstead. So kind of a little nod to the Calder Cup, and obviously the farm system being a step below the NHL. You can find us on Twitter at Calder Farmstead, and again, just click on that drop down for the podcasts and find us at fullpresshockey.com.
Now, the key, I almost said the Kings, the Reign and the Eagles have already played one of their first two games of the season, 2-0 through most of the third period. But then the Eagles come on and put the press on late in the third, and I guess was 4 seconds left. It looks like they might have tied it. One of the challenges I'm finding as a fan and as somebody who's covering an AHL team in this season is I have no idea how good my team is, and more importantly, I have no idea how good the other team is. So I have no idea where to set my expectations. So without getting too deep in the reads on this one, how good are the Eagles? Who are the guys that we should be looking for as Reign fans during this upcoming game?
Well, you're going to see a few new faces because a lot of the Eagles starters have had to be called up to the Avalanche taxi squad. The Avs have been dealing with a lot of injuries. So 4 of the starting forwards for the Eagles and 4 of the starting defensemen for the Eagles were called up or in limbo, or I don't know how the Avalanche worked it out with the taxi squad and everything like that. But the Eagles squad that you guys saw on Wednesday night is going to be a little bit different than the Eagles squad you see on Friday night, because you got TJ Tynan, who is, one of the best playmakers in the AHL. He led the Eagles in points last year, so he's coming back to the Eagles. And then you got Mika Salamaki, who's coming back. Well, he's going to be making his Eagles debut. He signed with the Eagles as a free agent in the offseason, so he's going to be making his debut as well. And let's see, who's that? It is Kiefer Sherwood. I was like, who's the third forward? I couldn't remember for a second. Kiefer Sherwood. The Avs were super high on him out of training camp, and so they hung on to him. He's played a couple AHL or NHL games this season, rather. And so he's going to be joining the Eagles as well. So you get 3 top line AHL forwards coming back to the Eagles, or at least coming to the Eagles. And so, yeah, Reign fans, watch for those 3 because they're going to probably make, I would say, an immediate impact on the game come Friday.
The Reign have been out shooting their opponents, but they've been, I think it's fair to say, maybe struggling to put the puck behind the goaltender. And a lot of fans have commented that the Reign have made every visiting goaltender or road goaltender look like, a Vezina candidate. So who do you expect in net for this game, and what should the Reign do to beat them?
Oh boy. You could go with Trent Miner again. I think Miner's been tracking the puck really well, especially, in this recent game that I saw against the Reign. I thought he tracked the puck really well. Obviously only letting in 2 goals. He didn't get ran out of the building, which I think is a testament to him. But, I think with the Reign, something that I've noticed is the chemistry of these guys, the young guys that Sean O'Brien and I like to call the black and silver bandits, because they're nice and quick. And if you're not careful, they're going to steal the game from you. And I think that's kind of what happened to the Eagles on Wednesday night. So you're Quentin Byfields, you're Arthur Kaliyevs, you're Akil Thomas, you're Samuel Fajimo, and Tyler Madden. Those 5 guys, those are your black and silver bandits this year. That's your youth core. That's your youth movement. I really feel like they made a step forward, and they got that first victory because of the fact that their chemistry and just, like Kaliyev's forechecking. That's something that stood out to me in the first period. He was really aggressive in pushing into the offensive zone. And so, now that those guys are clicking, I think, Minor is probably going to get the start in net. Don't be surprised if Kevin Carr may get the nod as well. Carr may have to knock off a little rust. He has been getting some ECHL starts with the Utah Grizzlies this year. But if you get Minor in net again, I mean, he knows kind of what he's facing. So I would be prepared for, maybe another low scoring effort from the Reign if Minor's in net, but maybe a few more goals in net if Carr starts.
You talked about the black and silver bandits. Let's talk about the veteran presence on the Reign. Reign fans well familiar with Captain Brett Sutter, but newcomer to the Reign and former captain of the Colorado Eagles, Mark Alt. What should we know about Mark Alt's game?
Well, I mean, whether or not he makes an impact on the score sheet, I think is irrelevant because, like you said, former captain of the Eagles, he's a leader on and off the ice. So he's going to really, plug in with the young guys and just try and be as much of a good influence as he can, just in regards to his defensive effort and that defensive core. The fact that, the Reign, or the Kings organization rather, went out and signed Cameron Gauntz. Now that's a big name. That's one of the best defensemen in the AHL, in my opinion. So to acquire him, I think is a big coup as well in free agency. So to have a guy like Mark Alt, to have a guy like Cameron Gauntz, I think those two guys bring into the defensive pairings, this level of leadership that, when you're starting a younger core, whether it be forwards, whether it be defensemen, whether it be in the goaltending unit, to have those guys as the overall leaders in the locker room, it speaks volumes. And Mark Alt, just like I said, stand-up guy on and off the ice. So it's going to have an effect both behind the scenes and on the ice.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me. He has been CC Hawkley, and he covers Colorado Eagles hockey. I'm Jesse Cohen. Thanks for watching, Reign fans.
Thanks, Jesse.